Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of ABAP Explained, but today we are not doing ABAP, we are doing CAP, Cloud Application Programming in Bass Studio on the BTP account, a new language on this channel, but it's really worth to learn, used in many new projects. So no more introduction, let's just start and jump right into it. I'm currently in Business Application Studio in Bass. If you don't have a BTP account yet, you can create one for free, a trial account. I will give you the link in the description and also a link to create such an account and how to get access to Business Application Studio. Everything is free of charge. When you get to this point, then you can watch the rest of this video. So click on create dev space and let's give the dev space a name. In my case, it's going to be a bookstore, the most basic tutorial on CAP. And select full stack cloud application without any extensions. Just click on create dev space, and we're gonna wait a few moments to for the dev space to be created. And after the dev space is created, you will see the status running. So just click on that, and the Business Application Studio will be opened with your new project. With the Get Started page, might be useful for future reference, but for now, let's just allow them to improve the product. I don't care. I mean, I care to improve the product. So I click on OK, and click close the Get Started page, and let's create the project. You will need to get used to the terminal which you will type in commands to execute the whole application, to create connections and destinations and so on. So it's really important to just start off with the terminal. You click on the hamburger menu and select terminal, new terminal. You can also use the Ctrl-Shift-C shortcut. And as you can see, if I click Ctrl-Shift-C, I will also open the terminal. Then let's see what we have of folders here. We only have node modules, projects, TMP. So let's go to the projects folder with CD projects, and let's create CDS init, and let's call it bookstore. So we are initializing a new project and creating a new one. It has been created very fast, as you see, and now we go to the folder bookstore. We are currently in the bookstore folder. Now click here on this explorer and open folder, select projects and bookstore to open all your files from the newly created project. You should get this view where you can see all the folders, the application, database layer, and service layer, and some settings for Visual Studio Code. So the IDE that we are using, Bass Studio, I call it Visual Studio Code. I'm not sure if it's the right way to call it, but we don't need to worry it for now. And let's go again to the terminal, Ctrl-Shift-C, or through the hamburger menu. And let's type in npm install, installing all the node modules from the package.json file. 127, it creates a package log.json file with all the versions that of the packages that have been installed, and it saves them. So only for now do it once, npm install, and yeah, with clear you can clear the terminal. Yeah, and it would be really good for you to write down all these comments so you don't need to remember them, or just so you have a reference for future, because there's gonna be a lot of them. And the next one is gonna be CDS watch. CDS watch basically is like a live reload for the whole application. So if I create a new table, if I create a service, it's gonna reload the whole application, and you don't need to restart it every once and then. You just do it one time, and it can run in the backend. And for now, as you can see, it has found nothing in any of the folders because we haven't created anything yet. So to change that, let's create the first entity, the first table, and let's go to the DB folder, right click and new file, and schema CDS. It's the file, the first file. And when we created the file, as you can see, it automatically reads the file and creates a website for us. A local port will open 4004, and we can open it. For now, there is nothing there. You can click on the pop-up, or if it has closed, you can do follow link or control click on the whole link to open it. Yeah, and currently we don't have anything there. It has found no service definitions for the models. We don't have even any models yet. Yeah, so if it's a bookstore, a bookshop, let's create the first entity. Typing entity books. Remember that any entity you create, it should have the plural version of the word. So you don't do book, you do books. You don't do author, you do authors. So entity books, and let's give it the first field, which would be the title of type string. Shift Alt F is formatting the whole code. Very useful also when you have lots of code. Shift Alt F. I will use it a lot, so don't get confused when it automatically formats the whole page of the code. Yeah, we can close that. And after we created the first entity, there's no services. So it says, hey, I see some changes, but no services are defined yet. We created the entity. So entity is like a database table. When we will deploy it in the future videos, then it on the database, it will create a books table. So for now, nothing big happened. We have a title. We can do a second one, author, the second field, and it reloads, still finds nothing. So if you know, or maybe not, every table should have some kind of an ID, which we haven't created yet. You can, of course, create an ID by doing key ID and any type you want. But good practice to use in CDS, in CAP, is to the ID to be of the type GUID, UUID. So it's like 23, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. Characters instead of like counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can even see when I go in integer, their type is UUID. Let's see if it shows us more information to that. No, it's just saying that this is a built-in type. So usually when you create your own ID, use UUID. We will see in 1 second how it looks. But a better way to do that, so instead of defining our own key, own ID field, we can delete it for now and use something called aspects. You add aspects by doing double point. I'm not sure what it's called. Let's see very quickly. A colon. Okay, it's just a colon. And then you type the name of the aspect, which in my case will be this UID. Currently it says no artifact has been found with name UID. So we need to take it from the standard SAP library. If you used any other languages, you know that there are libraries, packages where we can take some code from them, so we don't need to define every now and then a type of UID. So let's import this aspect by typing in using colon, let's go with the brackets, curly brackets. Oh, and what am I typing? CUID. And using from which library am I taking that? It's gonna be the SAP CDS / common CDS library or package, and end it with a semicolon. And after that, you see it. Now, if I hover on that, we get a very nice documentation set telling me that this aspect for entities with canonical universal IDs. And if you do Control and click, you will be taken to this file, to the common CDS package, which we have installed using npm package. And you see that it's an aspect with the name cuid, and it gives you the key ID. So now, even if we don't see it here defined, we have 3 columns: ID, title, and author. If we go back to the common CDS file, you can also see a very nice aspect that we are going to use often, which is the managed aspect. So it basically adds you 4 fields that will automatically be filled. As you can see on insert, when you create a new record, it will take the variable, the time, the user, and change the columns automatically, so you don't never have to worry for them. So let's also add this manage aspect to our project. So we do managed. If it's yellow, it means it has not been used, and then managed. So currently we have 7 columns, even that you see 2 here. Again, if you do Control click, you can see and go jump there. I especially wanted to showcase you these 2 aspects because you are gonna use them a lot, even in most of the tables. I would really recommend managed, maybe not in customizing tables, but even so, yeah, good practice to use cuid as the key. And we still have no service definition. And before I will create let's just create a service definition. So we go to the service layer, right click, new file, and let's call it service.cds to make it simple. And here let's define the first service. So service start with service. We can call it bookstore service. And the bookstore service, what are services? Services is a way to show the application that we are taking something from the domain layer, from the schema, from the database layer, and showcasing to the world. Yeah, okay, so I want to enable to the whole application to use these tables. And to do that, we do something called projections. So let me do a projection on books as projection on books. And now we will get, we're mostly done, but we will get an error, illegal circular reference, which basically means that I'm repeating the name books, 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 and it doesn't know what to do. And to help out with the problem, we use something called namespaces. So let's go back to schema CDS file, and let's create a namespace. A namespace is basically a path to your entities, to your services. When you will deploy the whole project, it will take the part of the name and concatenate it with the entity name. So you will see that in 1 second. So let's create a namespace, and it recommends db as the term, which is fine for me. We can do tutorial db. You will often see something like that with a dot. So if you work in a project, you will have the company name .db, .service, .something. When you will have many files, you just want to use a namespace so it's better organized. So we created a new namespace, and now to use it, we'll again import the things from schema, and because now it doesn't see it, it doesn't know what books are, and we need to import it from schema. So we are importing the namespace tutorial.db, and let's use an alias as db, so it's a shortcut, so I don't need to use the whole path. And let's import it from, when I just do the point, it will show me the path to the only existing file because there are no more. And now if I do db dot, it shows me all the entities that are there. So db books, and we just need a semicolon there. And if we format that, as you can see, if we watch the console, because the terminal is still running, if it's not, run it again with CDS watch. It has loaded 4 models, services, some node modules, standard modules, the common library that we have used in our schema CDS file, and yeah, it has found a service, a bookstore service, which if we open with control click the page, you can see we have the first service. We have exposed it for the application to use. So if you only create a schema, you won't see anything yet. But if you create the service, you will see it. And we can, of course, click on it and see what's inside. So we currently see nothing because we don't have any data. So let's change that and let's create some data. You can do Control C to close the currently watch. So if I do Control C, as you can see, the watch has ended. And I can now just add some data for our database to create a SQLite database with our CSV files, which is like a mock database. It's not going to be a real database, HANA database, but for the tutorial purposes, it will be enough. So let's do that by adding using the command cds add data, and let's see what happens. So as you can see, it has created a new folder, db data, with the file, the CSV file for a data for our books entity. So automatically pulling all the columns from the entity. So not only title, author, but also the ID and the 4 columns from here. So you see the columns are all there, but there is no data. And you can, of course, now type in the first title, the author, the ID. But to make it faster, which I really like, CAP enables us to create some mock records. And as you can see, it even tells us after running this command, use dash records to create random entries. So let's do that. But first we need to delete the file, because if I won't delete the file, it will skip it. We can even see it if I do the comment again. You see it skips db books because it already exists. So it doesn't want to overwrite the data if you would have created some. So we just delete it. Yes, and let's do cds add data dash records and the number of records that you want. So for example, 5. And again, the file is created and we see some mock data. It's just gonna be the column name with some random number. So it's not really good quality data, but yeah, still is very useful. And now we can see the UUID, the CUID is such a format. So get used to it. It's gonna be the key in most of your tables because you should use CUID. And after we created the mock data, let's clear out the terminal and run cds watch again. And now it's gonna load the services, but also, as you can see, it has connected to this mock database, to the SQLite database, and load some data from the CSV file. One more important thing is that the path, the name of the file is tutorial.db-books. It's not just books. It's because of the namespace that we have created. If you create the namespace, the path to the file is going to be like that. The whole path to your tables will be like that. So it's very important to remember the namespace concept. And let's just do control click and see for the books service. And here we have our data starting with the 0 index. You might see this just in plain text format. So I have installed JSON beautifier for my browser. I recommend you do the same so you can see you can get a good preview for the data. And yeah, that would be most of the first tutorial. It's lots of knowledge, so write down the commands, try it for yourself. I really recommend that you just open the browser, the Bus Studio, and that you code it yourself. I don't want you just to watch the video because you won't remember anything. Maybe you remembered something called entities, but if you only create it by yourself and go read the documentations, what I would really also recommend is to open the Capire, the Capire documentation. So it's the documentation for CAP. So I will give you the link in the description also. You have a get started folder. You can go do it by yourself. We'll go through that together in the next episodes, but I really recommend for you to do it yourselves. And currently we stop here, and I see you in the next video. Leave a like, a subscription, and comments if you would like to see something in the next videos. Yeah, if something that's particularly interesting for you, type it down in the comments. But for now, we're gonna stick to the basics. Thank you.